the platform to share the information about the network security for ISS requirement. So as you know, Mr. Bhilapandi has covered the basic system of ISMS requirement in organization, for definition of information, the requirement of information security management, the 14 domains, the controls, objectives, documentation. So now we'll talk about the network security. Actually, this is comes under the domain communication. A13 communication is there, where you need to secure the network. Actually, we are not living in an interconnected world. We cannot live in an isolated world. Whatever we carry out in personal life, in organization level, in government process systems, we are using somewhere or other some network, either LAN network or internet one at different levels as a requirement of the organization. So there are two concerns are there. So what data, whatever information of the confidential, that may rest at or at transit. So there are two cases are there, where the information may be at rest in the organization or transition when it's flowing through some network. So we need to consider security at all the places when you deal with the data, whether a transition or we storing is secured in a safe custody. Everywhere we need to take proper care. So network security comes under the A13. The objective is to ensure the protection of information. Mr. Naresh? Hello, Mr. Naresh?
Yes, sir, I'm here, sir.
So I am audible correctly?
Yes, sir, perfect, sir.
Oh, okay. So objective is to ensure the protection of information in networks and the supporting information processing facilities. So you see that the main purpose of this security management is to ensure the protection of information in the network and is supporting information processing facilities. In the organization, you are using different or say supporting systems like web servers are, database servers are there, so many systems are there, which is providing for your business purpose also. So you need to protect information as well as the information processing facilities in the organization. So the need for security is to protect the information against any unwanted access, so that any outsider should not access your confidential or sensitive information. You have to protect, guard against that any access. To safeguard the data from any inappropriate delay in the route followed to deliver to its destination at the desired period of time. You have to ensure the proper connection and other things. To guard the data from any undesired amendment or modification, unwanted, unauthorized changes. So then the total purpose will be lost, because if you record the data in between, man in the middle, or any attack may be there, so hackers or malicious users may change your data for his own purpose. So that is the whole purpose is lost. You have to ensure the integrity of the data. So data, whether it is raised or at transit. Then to guard our hardware like hard disks, PCs, laptop from attack or malware, viruses, etc., which can damage our systems by corrupting or deleting all the content stored in the, when we are connected in the network, so there is a possibility of that virus or any malware may flow along with other files and documents also that may corrupt your systems also. So that you need to protect proper antivirus in your system, proper installation and regular updating and patching. Otherwise, system will be corrupted. You will not be able to work and deliver your delivery accordingly in the time. So to protect our PCs from software which is installed can harm our system as hackers do. So there is a probability that also that hackers or any malicious user, they can access and install some unwanted software in your devices. That's why there is a rule of thumb is that when you access any website, it should not be in the administrative mode. So that should be only normal user mode with the less privilege. If also the virus comes also, it will not be installed in your system. After your machine is switch off, it will well go off. So it will not be remaining there. But if you in the administrative mode, already in the privilege mode, so if you access from websites and some viruses and virus comes or malware comes, it will get installed in the system, it will harm the systems. To safeguard our system from Trojan horses, worms, etc., which can completely destroy our system. These are the concerns, and we need to provide the security. So security needs are required. secure Wi-Fi in a wireless communication, network security, access management, who are the users are there, data loss protection for protection of your data sensitive, endpoint security when you're using in the home or using a VPN mode, how to ensure the data from a distance when you access your system from a laptop or mostly in the lockdown situation. Sometimes use your systems and access your organization resources through your VPN connection laptop. So you have to provide the endpoint security in your laptops. Otherwise, it will may cause problem in your system and your resources also. So there are different concerns are there, and there is a probability of the DDoS distributed DNS service operations. Now people are using DDoS devices at the gateway also for any unwanted requests and that will be protected at the gateway itself. So these are the different concerns are there. Now, there are two types of networks mostly used in the industry. One is a wired network that through cable, and other is the wired through Bluetooth or Wi-Fi connections are there. In wired network connection, devices are connected to each other using cables. Network cables, Cat5, Cat7 cables are there. The twisted pair UTP cables are there. These switches are further connected to network router for accessing the internet. So there is a cable connection. The cable routing is important. So, in other case of wireless, we are using access points for radio communications there through a radio microbes are there connected, and your router and other things are connected to that access points. Now, concerns are there from the security point. Physical network layout diagram should be available. When you are going to implement ISMS, so this physical network diagram should be, because your organization may be distributed in different locations, different buildings also there. So passing of the cable is very important. That should be properly conduited, enclosed, so that it will not physically cut during some this repair work or renovation work. The cable may cut and all the communication will go off. And also cable harnessing. If a lot of lands or cables are there, that should be properly marked and harnessed and properly arranged for the regular identification of the cable and also maintenance. By some problems are there, if the markings are proper, you can easily identify which are the cables are there. So that way you have to give a good service to your organization. Conceal routing of the cables to protect against accidental or incidental intentional damages also. So that should be properly protected. Physical access control to network access. Wherever the physical devices are there, that should be under access control and surveillance system should be there. So nobody can directly go there and network room or knock room. So that will be protected through physical access control. And we also need to maintain the temperature, humidity, and as the domain this was the physical controls are the same controls should maintain in the network security also for temperature, humidity, power, cooling, etc. Now, wireless protections are there. So, if you have some devices are there, the WPA enabled are there, so that encrypts the information and checks to make sure that the Android security keys has been modified. And WPA also authenticates users to help users that only authorized people can access to the network. So, this is a protection in the wireless communication system, the WPA system. And if you see that network diagram, there are so many devices connected. Firewalls are there, network devices there. So there are wireless and wired cables are there. So the first you need to know what is your diagram. So physical network diagram, what is the layout diagram, network architecture diagram. So that the architecture diagram should be available to the organization. Then for network security overview, the network security consists of the policies, practices adopted to prevent and monitor unauthorized access. So as Mr. Vilapan was telling, it starts with a policy document for the internet policy, the land policy, all the policies should be available, and network policy, who the access control policies there, who will be given access, what are the privilege levels are there. So that should be available, and accordingly, those access will be given, and other persons should not get any unauthorized access. Networks involves the authorization of access to data in the network and which is controlled by the network administrator. So there is a network administrator, very important role in the organization. So he will control all the access, he will give the privileges, user ID, on all things should be controlled by the network administrator. We see the simple data flow in a network. from internet, router, firewall, switch, then internal many switches may be there, then ultimately the users are there, we are accessing through this path. What are the goals of network security? The primary goal of network security are confidentiality, integrity, and availability. These are the three pillars of network security, are often represented CIA triangle. What is confidentiality? The confidentiality of is to protect the precious business data from unauthorized persons. So it should not be disclosed to the other outside persons. It's the confidentiality. Integrity, the main goal means maintaining and assuring accuracy and consistency so that data should not be tampered, modified, changed unauthorizedly. And availability, you have to make the system available to the intended users, the legitimate users who are the required to use it for the purpose, whether it is LAN, website, whatever is there, it should be available to the intended or legitimate users. The main thing is the confidentiality, means it should not be available to the others outsiders. Integrity should be maintained, data should not be changed or modified or amended unauthorizedly, and the system should be available who needs it, who are the authorized users. Now, in doing this, there are some, you might have heard the vulnerabilities attacks are available also this in the networks also. The common vulnerability that exists in both wired and wireless networks are the unauthorized access. So with all the system, there could be unauthorized access to a network. An attacker can connect his device to a network through unsecure hubs or switch port also. There may be the mostly problem with that with the wireless connection. So where rogue APIs access point may install in your system, you may not be knowing also. He is sniffing your data or packets going to your network. In this, wireless networks are considered less secure than the wired network because this is communicated and transmitted in the air. So you can try to either mobile device or any access points can access your data and do some malicious activity. After accessing, an attacker can exploit his vulnerability to launch attacks also. So there are different attacks are there, the sniffing the packet, denial of service, spoofing the physical address, MAC address, and man-in-the-middle attacks are there. I will discuss it later. So some threats to the web are the integrity, or the threat is the modification of user data, Trojan horse browser, modification of memory, modification of message traffic in transit. What are the consequences? Loss of information, compromise of machines, vulnerability to all other threats. And what is the countermeasures? PFP, cryptography checksums you can add in the applications. Then your confidence issues. What is that? Confidence eavesdropping on the net. Yeah, peeping to others in window, basically eavesdropping. Theft of information from server, theft of data from the client, info about network configurations, info about which client talks to server. So what is the consequence? Loss of information, loss of privacy, and countermeasure encryption and web proxies are the measures we have taken. Like this, some of threats webs are denial of service, or the threats are killing of user threats, flooding machines with the bogus request. Your machines are flagged with the pings requests are there, or any other buffer overflow is there. You will not able to work in the legitimate users. Filling up disks or memory space, isolating machines by DNS attacks. There are different attacks are there. The consequence is disrupting, annoying, prevent legitimate user from getting work done and services. So basically, this denial of service concerns in the network and the websites, they're difficult to prevent, but to some extent, firewall rules can be controlled, and anti-DDoS devices will be installed in the CON device as a gateway to prevent DDoS attacks. So first I told you that network architecture is very important. Depending on the organization size, your type of work, you need to define your network architecture. Who are the information? These ISPs are there, internet service providers are there, or what are the servers are there, which networks are there, whether you allow the Wi-Fi or not, whether allow this wired connections are there, whether VPNs are there. So entire architecture you have to first draw it. That is the first starting point of any network security. You have to provide the network architecture, and the network administrator should maintain the architecture, and whenever any change in network, there should be control also and communicated to all concerned for compliance. Now, if you know that OSI 7 layers are there, so security cannot be only given on one layer. There are the security, the defense in depth at different layer, and different security concerns are there. So you cannot provide at the down physical layer or data link layer or transport layer. So different layer has different concern and the security layer as well. So if you see that at the security application layer at the top level, the security measures used at these layers are application specific. Some applications you require very sensitive applications are there, very critical applications there. So that we can application level, you can through the application level like SMIME. So normal MIME is there, like SMIME is there, SFTP is there. So there are encrypted communication. This application level, you're taking the care of the security at the top level. Let's see, application security mechanisms for protecting network communications are preferred to be only standard-based solutions, like SMIMEs, PGP. PGP is petty good privacy. Total communication is the encrypted communication. Like you want to share very important and sensitive file from one organization to other, from your supplier to customer like this. So that will be in a encrypted form. After receiving, you have to decrypt. So that way you have to share your public key, and you have to encrypt that all the files and programs by this public key of the sender, and you send through the PGP network. And DNS security also one type of protocol used for the security application layer security. So this is the security as the application layer. Like that, the security at the transport layer. So like if you see the banking software, you see somewhere is written HTTPS and HTTP. What is the difference between the HTTP and HTTPS? In the HTTP, your communication is in a clear text. If you like write your credential, like user ID, password, so that will be communicated in the clear text form. So if anybody sniff your that network or packet, so he will be able to detect what are the information passing through the network. That problem is there because HTTP or FTP in the clear text. So for ensuring the security, so people are using HTTPS. When you see that banking software or LICs are there, you see HTTPS. Even also Google or Yahoo, they are using some HTTPS communication also, sites also there. So that is secure communication. So that transport layer security, TLS and SSL are most common protocols used for this network level, transport level. Then there is a provisions of making a network layer security. So mostly security measures at this layer can be applied to all applications, irrespective of application. Thus, they are not application specific. So like in the SMIME and PGP, so the particular application specific security measures. But in the network level, if you use the IPsec or SSL VPN, so the entire communication will be protected. So that is security is provided in the network level itself. So that way you have to say communication protected. So different mechanisms depending on organization or type of complexity, sensitivity of data, you can use any type of layer security. Now, in a big organization, the first thing is that whenever you are connecting to many LANs are there, devices, nodes are there. If you have give the all the 100 or 150 devices, so if you have make a security policies are there, so that will depend on the individual to implement or deploy his policy. Very difficult sometimes to monitor all the things. So that time, whatever policy you have defined, implemented, so that will depend either the network administrator or system administrator has to go individual machines and see whether it is correctly implemented or not. So that is a very difficult task. So that's why people are using Active Directory in the domain controller mode. So all the domain policies are defined in the system and in deployed across organization. So it is a Active Directory provides a data repository that is logically centrally controlled, but physically distributed, synchronous multiple domain controllers throughout the network. So whatever policy you have defined, like password policy, this screen set policy, everything is there. So auto logout policy, everything is defined in the domain controller, and whatever say antivirus policies are there. So that will be deployed in the all the nodes connected in the domain control activity services and implement accordingly. So whenever log in, so all the policy will be deployed in the machines itself. You need not to do your own. That is one advantage of that. So big organizations, they are using the ADS, Active Directory Services. That maybe locally you will also distributed at different locations also. They can have Active Directory Services like this. Primary and secondary Active Directory Services are there. So depending on type of organization or distribution, geographical location, they can arrange their ADS service accordingly. So there are different configurations are shown Active Directory Services. So basically, so use the same policy across the organization through different group policies also there. All will be implemented in the device. Individual has no role in that. So if you are in the domain, you have to use as a domain user. All the policies will be automatically implemented. Your antivirus policies, whatever security policies are there, so that will be accordingly implemented. The password policies are there, all will be implemented. That is the first level is the Active Directory Service provision. So for in big organization, if you can manage Active Directory, that is better for better control of the security. Then now we think about the network is comprised of the different devices. Like it starts with your client machines are there, servers are there. Then it comes the router. If you have multiple networks are there, multiple LANs are there. How do you connect? So the routers connect different networks for different internet connection or different multiple connection networks are there. So that is the routers are used in network. If, for example, connecting a private network to an internet, a router acts as a dispatcher, choosing the best path for the information to travel. Routers connect users to the network. If you know, if your house also, we are using now wireless routers are there. If you for connecting your net and your devices to that router. So these are the different configuration routers in implement organization. So depending your type of organization, you can choose the right router facilities. Actually, router contains a routing table. So which are the neighboring networks are there, they have automatically build that information and accordingly pass the network to network that is connected to. The next is the firewall. What is firewall? Basically, this is access control device. When your different policies are set there, and what are the ports are allowed, what are the websites are allowed. So different policy can be set in the firewall. So firewall inspect all the traffic through it. You only basically gateway. It only prevent unauthorized packet to enter in the internal network and drop at the gateway. So firewall inspect all the traffic through allows a specified policy. So what are the IP address allowed, what are the ports allowed, what are the applications allowed, what are the websites allowed. So many rules can be set in the firewall and drops everything else. Whatever is allowed only pass through. Like if you connect to the internet, only the rules will allow those things at the gateway, the access control devices. So this is the firewall isolate between the internet and intranet. Internet is within the organization. We have a intranet connection. The LAN connections are there. That is intranet connection. And you will see that you might have heard that DMZ, demilitarized zone. So internet host can access the DMZ. Internet internal host, they can access the DMZ and internet both. External host can access the DMZ only, but no intranet. He cannot directly connect to the internet. DMZ host can access internet only. So the firewall isolates the internet and the intranet. This is a barrier basically that protects the internet. If there is something problem occurs, it will be protected. If the service gets compromised in DMZ, it cannot affect the internal LAN. So this is a very good practice in the organization to have a DMZ zones are there, demilitarized zones are there. So that is protect from the intranet, the internal network, from the exposing to the internet outside world. Internet is the outside world one. So like these web servers, email services, web proxies are connecting the DMZ, and your internal LAN, other database servers are connected in this intranet. So So this is important configuration internet security management system. So now, as I told you, so there are different attacks are there, like denial of service, different snip tie, scene flooding, smart attack, the broadcasting mode, and distributed DOS attacks are there. So, and also IDS, intrusion detection systems are there. Whenever unwanted packets are entering, so it monitors the packets. What are the packets, whether the legitimate packet or some illegitimate packet, it detects only and gives the information. And there is also IPS, intrusion prevention systems are there. In the IDS only detects the packet, and also the IPS, it prevents unauthorized packet to enter in the internal network. So there is a blocks the malicious activity. So there is an important IPS. We can show you how the DDoS attacks are taken place. Your perpetrated malicious users are there. So you have spoofed your IP address, and your ping ICMP echoes are being replayed. So this is victim. So you receive a large number of echo. You're flooding. So your legitimate function by this user will be prevented by this attack. Mostly in the some, if you find out the websites, this is protected from this DDoS attack also for different configurations there. And now you have heard that in any network system there are three things are there. One is the identification, authentication, and accounting. So first I will talk about the identification. Identify user ID. You have to identify as a users. So you can provide your own identity card, or you can show some other agency that will show your identity, prove your identity. So a federal identity provider. So first I talk about that authentication. What is authentication? So whether whatever user ID is there, whether you have the authenticated, like the password is the authentication credentials there. So you show some your user ID with the credential of the authentication as a user password. Then other credential could be there, your RS token, or could be a biometric or access control or digital signatures there. So some system allow only one type of authentication. Or if you give only password, the system will allow it. And some places for very sensitive application, critical application, so they will look for more authentication. Not only password may be hacked or may be compromised. So there is a requirement of biometric devices are there through where they will be identified whether he is a correct person. Like when some person comes to office, so he shows his identity card or any that a security person allows. The system like this also, when you show your identity card, then the system will allow it. So only thing. So there is also a one more gateway is there. You have to give your this fingerprint. So your biometric authentication is there. So that way there are two-factor authentication. Like that, there will be more depending on type of multi-factor authentication. MFA are also being used for the authentication purpose. So these are the some example I will show you. The multi-factor, these are RSA tokens are there, RFID tokens are there, biometric authentications are there, the CDC cards are there, iris scans are there. So many authentication systems are there that support to identify the integrity and person who is claiming his identity, authentication. And then I told you authentication is to claim the identity of the person who is claiming that identity, user ID, whatever is there. So then the authorization, what role you will get it. If you see that in the website, there are different roles are there, admin roles are there, guest roles are there, normal users are there. So authorization is define the user's rights and permission on a system. Like your system also is in the server, databases, then will different roles may be there. So that is the authorization in different roles, groups are there through authorization process. So if I only use a normal user or an administrative user or different user, so that is known by the authorization. And the other thing I talked about that authentication, authorization, and accountability. Accountability means log. Whenever you do some activity in the system or network, So that activity will be logged. That is accountability. AAA, authentication, authorization, and accountability. Authentication is the identification of the person with his credential. Authorization is what permissions or privileges is the authorization, access control, and the accountability is the log. Whatever activity will perform by the user, that will be logged for future in investigation or any identification. When in network devices, there are remote authentications are there, trackers and radius modes are being used for that. That is being done by network administrators. So this was radius and trackers protocol for remote authentication of the devices. Then if you see that standard, so there are requirements are there. Networks shall be managed and controlled to protect information in systems and applications. So these are the requirement. If you see the standard, different objectives are there. So they simply say the network shall be managed and controlled to protect information in system and applications. So what are the controls will be there? Remote control to network equipment. Network monitors are there to detect attacks and analyze the traffic. Restricted routing to specific network addresses. Access control to allow only authorized users. Encryption of transmitted data to retain confidentiality. So actually, if you see the standard is actually very framework. You give a very small cryptic information, but in organization level, you have to analyze through risk assessment which is required for your own organization. You establish that the responsibility and management role, what is the actual requirement and what are the controls required, and that will be done through a risk assessment. Detailed risk assessments will be carried out, and what are the risks are there, what are the threat levels are there, what are the vulnerabilities are there. To address and mitigate those risks, this control will come, whether you go for a remote control, whatever networks monitors are there, restricted routing is there, and you have to implement the devices, like I do, router, firewall, and other things are there, encryption required. So depending on the risk, you have to provide the all devices and the controls. Then, if you see the standard, this is actually a security statement. The security mechanism, service levels, and requirements of all the network services shall be identified and included in the network services agreements, whether these services are provided in-house or outsourced. So some of the services may be done by your own people, and also some of the services may be given by the external agencies also. So that's why when you giving the services to external agencies, you need to make a service level agreement. The identification of security features and SLA, service level agreement, with the network service providers, like security feature, the technology or security network services like authentication, encryption, technology for secure connection to the network services, access restrictions of network services and applications. So this way, you have to bind the external agencies who will be providing your services through this SLA. What are the service provisions and how to ensure the safety and security of your own information systems and informations. So that will be controls will be there in the practice. Then groups of information services and users and information systems shall be segregated on network. This is very important. Like in your organization, there may be different divisions may be there. If you make only single LAN, you have to create 150 or 200 LANs are there. All the LAN devices, nodes are connected in single LAN. So all the information may be passing to all the nodes are there. There are two problems are there. If there is any network virus attacks, all the network devices will be immediately affected. Another thing, if some disgruntled employee or any malicious user installs some rogue device, he can sniff the packets within the network and he can do some malicious activity through that devices. But if you can segregate, like if you have billing section, purchase section, HS section, or different activity wise, different freelance are there, so that will protect, because only that information passed in that particular domain, it will not go to the other domain also. The user in the one domain cannot access the information other domain also. So that way you can segregate the network in the better way. For your, depending on the type of activity, you need to segregate your network. Like mostly finance, marketing, and all the data, other unwanted people may also access. So this way you can make a VLAN, virtual local area network. Actually, this is done through this router and other things. You can also install firewall in between also to protect the very sensitive data in the organization. We call virtual area network, VLAN. Instead of single LAN, multiple VLANs are there in the organization. Then, if that VLAN is the local, and if you want to access your system from your home or house or hotel, so that house connected in the internet, so anybody can access from that. So there is a security risk also. So that's why there is a requirement of VPN, virtual private network. So the employee is there, employee credentials are there, client VPN clients are there, encrypted. VPN is an encrypted channel. Whatever communication will made from the employee to the company resources, so that will be in a virtual. So he will be virtually in the network, but he is using the public network in internet, but through any virtually encrypted channel. So tunneling, nobody can intercept his whatever communication is passing to employee and the internal resources of the company. So that is all VPN access. So like this, the tunnel is there, so all the information are encrypted in the channel. So nobody can intercept. So through internet, he is using a tunnel, the VPN access. So during this work from home and this pandemic situation, most of the IT industries are using this type of network for their communication and allowing their employees to work from home through VPN connection. Then this is important. If you see that domain A13.2 information transfer. What is information transfer? We are using different, we cannot isolate it, staying and isolated in the business area. You need to communicate with client, your supplier, your stakeholders are there. So you need to exchange the files, programs, and other things. So how to exchange without any safety, compromise the security and safety. So that is the important thing. So how do informations are being passed from the organization, either email or FTP, SFTP. So is the requirement, the information transfer policies and procedure. First, we have to have a information transfer policy and procedure. How do information should be transferred in the network? Then arrange agreement on the information transfer. Whenever you transfer agreement with the client, you have to, what is the exchange your public key and PGP configuration, and so that all the information will be passed to your client in a encrypted form, and so that unwanted person cannot access those files, because all the files will be encrypted. Only the intended person will decrypt it and use it for the purpose. So that should be agreement with the electronic messaging, whether you pass the information in this is chatting, so how the chats are protected, like whether you use that social sites are like this. So this is the policy should be defined, and accordingly you have to use that for your business purpose. Information transfer policies and procedures should define protection or transfer information from interception, copying, modification, misrouting, corruption by malicious codes and destruction. So these are the concerns are there, and they have to be aligned with the acceptable use policy. So in your ISMS implementation, you have to define which is acceptable use policies there. So what are the devices, systems are using, like your company has given or government has given you email ID. So that should be used for your personal use also. So that should be used for the official purpose only and for your required system only. So consideration for leaks of wireless communication, you have to find out whether you will use a Wi-Fi or not. When you very sensitive data, you cannot use the Wi-Fi. So that has to be detailed in the policy. Detail of users and contacts and responsibilities also defined. Use of cryptography technique to protect confidentiality, integrity, and authenticity. This is done to the VPN. Use of various voice and video communication options. Nowadays, the people are doing conferencing. So using some, like recently that Zooms and other had some issues for the security issues. So that you have to decide in the policies whether you will public VC system or not. I don't know. What is the security threats are there? How do you address those threats as you determine? Even on use a fax system and network printers for the sensitive document also. Because in big organization, so there is access control in printing also in network devices. So only the user with the proper access control, he can go and collect those printers. Agreement for transfer, agreement for on transfer, whatever information are there. So there should be a agreement, NDA also, and there are non-disclosure agreements should be there for transfer of the files and documents. These are for the requirement for the electronic messaging, mostly email use policies is there, protection. Like in most government offices now the ban using of the other than the NIC mail and gov.mail because there is a threats are there. So for the official purpose you cannot use a Gmail or Yahoo mail. So some sensitive information may be passing. You never know what will going to their web mails are there. So that restrict the government only gov.in or NIC mails are there. So particular security reasons. So that has to be given in the policy matter. The protection of confidentiality and integrated through cryptography technique also. Like SMIME or the name encrypted communication, PGP communication for very secure and sensitive information. Then as I told initially that you need to monitor the network. What is passing through the network, you should monitor through IDS systems are there and different tools are also being used also. Like might have network monitoring systems are there like to provide 5 basic functions: discover, map, monitor, alert, report. So these network monitor tools have the different capability. Like as a network monitor, system monitor, you should know what is the status of the network. Big organization, so many nodes are there. What the status of the node, which are connected or not. So through use of the tool, you will be able to monitor the status, whether the link is there or link is down. All the information will be visible to him. So that is a network monitoring tool. So this way, so the up down status will be given by the network. This is a good for the network administrator to know what is the system, what is the down status, all the detail will be there, what IP addresses are there. So immediately can take action. So the network monitoring tools are there. Then security information and event management, SIEM products pull together the information that your security staff needs to identify and respond to the threats. So there are different tools are there, SIEM tools are there, SolarWinds security event manager as well, Makeup and traffic security tools. There are so many tools are there. This is only some mentioned some of the few. So people are using for the network logging and monitoring also. Whatever activity being logged in the system and how to monitor and any threats are there, any alerts are there. So this will give immediately alarm. If there's some network problems are there, this tool will give some immediate alarm to the network administrator. So something is this bandwidth is consuming more, or some unwanted packets are entering, or some IPs are there. Immediately, in the some other systems are there, only the local IPs are allowed. If a person tries to access from the outside India, so those IPs will block, and those information will be available to the also network administrator. So he can identify, analyze how many some attempts are being made and what are the root area or countries, so they can accordingly guard their system. So these are the network monitoring tool very important in the network security. And this is a requirement for the confidentiality or non-disclosure agreement. Signed requirement for reflect the organization needs for protection information should be identified, regularly reviewed and documented. Whenever mostly dealing with the outsiders or the, you should sign an NDA. Then the organization should do a regularly vulnerability analysis. Whatever network is configured, architecture is there, still you need to, because this a security is a evolving phenomena. Like new phenomena or threats are being coming, like ransomware, this wire or different security threats are being coming out on a regular basis. So you should update your system, patch up your system, and know that. So that is known through the vulnerability analysis. The vulnerability analysis of network devices on regular basis, like Nessus scans are there, app scans are there, so many scanning devices, Nmap scans are there used for the scanning purpose. Patch management of network operating systems on applications regular basis. Penetration testing to exploit the vulnerabilities also. The internal teams should exploit, try to whether some vulnerability is there, whether that can be exploited by the external people or agency, that will be simulated within the network also. So you will be more robust so that outsider cannot take that vulnerability to be exploited. Then there is a requirement of the BCP, business continuity management. So if you see that the architecture also, you find out what are the redundant systems are there. You have to take up regular backup of the system, restoration on regular basis also, so that in case of one system down, other system will take over. So this way you have to make a system that is called business continuity plan. So in the event of a disaster situation, network security will be maintained also. So how we can take the network system backups, program backups, and also the regular restoration testing on a regular basis. And in the network device also, sometimes you have to, like you are having one ISP, an internet service provider, BSNL or other. So if that down, your total network will down. We should do alternate arrangement or other service provider in case of other systems are down. That will give the also that will take care of that. And sometimes people use also load balancer also. But depending on type of business, type of activity, you need to provide your all the redundancies and power supply required. Endpoint security, as initially told, during your this operation through VPN or using your mobile and using your system through your house, that endpoint security should be installed in the system. That will give more robust system. Like this provides several layers of security, inclusive of the file reputation, auto sandboxing. Like sandboxing means the malware analysis. So if there is a malware are there, it will drop those malware packets in the gateway, and web filtering also there, antivirus software, all built in that endpoint security, like checkpoint endpoint security and other checkpoints, endpoint security programs are there, so that may be installed in the laptops for better security. And other concern to the big organization, DLP, data loss prevention. So that way, whenever the employees are trying to sniffing the data or information of exfiltration of data, so that will check the DLP technology. So that is restrict the employees to access to the information to prevent it from sharing to the outside world by blocking ports and sites of forwarding, uploading, and even printing information. Because this is a concern in the IT industry also. Some of the employees who are going to change job, or there are some patented information there, they can also snip and exfilter those information to the computer. So that should be blocked at the network level. So that he cannot send the sensitive information or patented information to the outside world. So that will be checked by the DLP technology. Another important requirement is the NTP, the network time protocol, because all the systems run with a synchronized time, because all the servers, the router, all the systems the same time frame. Or if you have different system, you cannot identify the sequence of operations. So all the systems, servers, applications should be in the same time. So time synchronized is done through a network time protocol NTP. That's the different servers are there. You have to if it is a big organization, there is a mechanism for network NTP connections and to synchronize all these to a GPS clock and find out in the same time frame across the organization. So these are the requirement for the network security. And if you go for a actual implementation, you need to go through the risk assessment and find out what to stress on and mitigate accordingly. Yeah. So these are the requirement in brief, because the network is a big issue. In a short time, I tried to give you the basic ideas of network security. Yeah. Thank you very much for your nice questions sharing. And if you have any questions, please ask me. Thank you. Mr. Naresh?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.